every answer that you do in an interview needs a bow on it. The bow is when you say, you put the ball back in their court. And that leads me here today to sit in front of you at Southwest Airlines. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really looking forward to answering any of your questions.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
What is up? How's it going, pilot? It's Nick. It's a solo episode. It is a great day, and we are going to talk about something basic. Today's episode is all about the introduction at the interview. All right. There's a lot of different insight out there and recommendations about how to do an intro. And the first thing you need to know is that if you are trying to do it off the cuff, if you're organizing your thoughts in your head and you want to try to deliver it cold for the first time, it is going to be and ask me how I know, because it took me a long time to be able to articulate myself clearly and walk somebody else through my history without me doing this. And all the verbal clutter and a lack of continuity. Now, you may have heard, some people have listened to different academics on how to do an introduction, and they lean heavily on talking about your family and your wife's name and your kid's name and when you had those kids and this, that, and the other. If you roll into that in your introduction, you are going to see the interviewer's eyes glaze over. They're going to sit back in their chair and they're going to be like, here we go. Because that is what people have been doing for 10 years, and it is not effective anymore. It's time to pivot. It's time to think fresh. So let's walk through what we're going to do. An introduction is a general review of your resume with a couple extra things fluffed in there. And we say that we're looking for about 3 to 5 minutes, and it kind of depends. But man, once you're pushing past 5 minutes, it's just going to I don't want to hear it, man. It's misery. Unless, listen, if you're Medal of Honor recipient, if you are a person that is a refugee that grew up in a terrible, terrible place and you got a second chance on life and you have a super compelling story and you're that person, I might want to hear it. I had a girl once who grew up in Africa in a hut made of dirt with a dirt floor and no electricity. She didn't get electricity till she was 13. And she got into Oxford and did amazing stuff and went and flew in Africa and then came to the United States and started flying. And now she is at a major airline. And her story was about 6 minutes. And I was crying at the end of it. I am one of those guys who I'm a compassionate crier. If something special is going on, my eyes will tear up. Even the military guy in me that wants to punch me in the face, it just happened. And that I was overcome with the beauty of her story. And if you've got a story like that, I'll let you go 6 minutes. But the first time she told it, it was 11. And it just didn't work. And that's okay. And we worked on it and we walked through it. So if you have a past like that, you'll hear me talk sometimes about my friend Tahir. Tahir's from Iraq, and he was granted refugee status with his family out of Iraq and came to the United States as a child without even knowing English. We worked really hard on his, and his was just under 5 minutes. And I really had to know the details of his trip because he flew on Delta Airlines and he remembered the flight number of Delta, and he had an interview with Delta, and it was beautiful. It was super duper compelling. Another guy grew up in Denver and had lots of tie-ins with United Airlines and as a child, and it was a really cool. It wasn't it was compelling. It wasn't fluff. It wasn't stupid that people try to say to make themselves sound like they were destined to fly for the airline. So most of what I'm trying to say with all of this is we are typically going to start about when you started flying. I went to Embry-Riddle University and I went through the flight training program. I became a certified flight instructor. And that year, we want to be specific about the years and talk our way through so that we can give people a timeline. If you say that you graduated from Embry-Riddle like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and all of a sudden you're at a major airline interviewing with 1,500 hours right at it, like it just shows a really, really cool story that you are working really hard and you really want to be there. If you are in your 40s or 50s and you have had a really long and remarkable past, and you flew for Cathay Pacific, or you flew for British Airways, or you flew for the military, and especially my military guys and gals, everybody wants to talk long. Everybody wants to go through. So to keep myself organized, we talked about where we started flying. And I don't care why you fell in love with flying. I don't care why you fell in love with flying. What I do care about is that you started flying and you did a great job and you progressed through, and walk us through. I was a certified flight instructor. And then once I was a CFI, I got 500 hours. I started at this company and I flew this. I upgraded to captain here. And after 2 years of flying there, I was lucky enough to get a job at this regional or this ULCC or this thing or that thing, and walk your way through. At the end, as we're going through, let's talk about some high points. Let's talk about the opportunity. If you became a captain at a regional airline, what did you love about it? Was it the crew resource management? Was it the opportunity to learn more, to really get in the hot seat and understand what it is to be responsible for a plane full of people? Be real and give them something more than just a list, but be careful. Do not overdo it. Do not overdo it. People try to really yarn on and it gets obnoxious because the people you're sitting in front of have heard it all. They've heard all of it. And they've heard the small town guy. They've heard the big city gal. They've heard the immigrant. They've heard the picket, pick the thing. You are not special. So you are a little special. Your family thinks you're special, hopefully. But as you go through, be careful about all the platitudes that you push out. But do find your way to articulate something impactful. At the end of the discussion of where you are, let's talk about things that are important. What do you do on the side? Where do you volunteer? Why does your heart fall into that place? And what do you love, And just sprinkle a little bit of that in there, because what it's going to do is give them an opportunity to possibly ask questions. And the reason we do an introduction in the first place is because they have your application in front of you and they want a quick synopsis without having to read 15 pages. When you are done with your intro, you need to find a way to tie a bow on your answer. Every answer that you do in an interview needs a bow on it. The bow is when you put the ball back in their court. You say something to the effect of, and that leads me here today to sit in front of you at Southwest Airlines. I'm so excited to be here and I'm really looking forward to answering any of your questions. And then you smile. I can't tell you how important it is to smile, to be approachable. That blank stare, my Marines with my high and tights, that death stare, that doesn't give you points. What you want to show is that you are approachable, you are awesome, that you're a great human, that you are somebody that, despite the fact that you have been a motivated machine doing pull-ups for the past 25 years, you are somebody that is a lot of fun to sit with and to understand and to listen to, and that they're going to really enjoy this interview. And so, in recap, kick it off from when you started flying. If you have something interesting in your past pre-flying that is really compelling, put it in there, but don't talk about it too long. Find your way logically through your history. And as you're talking about your career, sprinkle in a few things that you really loved about the job. Talk about why the CRM is awesome. Talk about why being a leader is amazing. Talk about learning to be a servant. Going from the military to a first officer role, being a servant is a great opportunity. And if you are a person that came through in the civilian sector, talk about being able to fly with a diverse group of people. Once you start flying with military people and you start flying with people from other countries and all those things that you never thought you'd get to do growing up in a small town in Idaho, and go through logically at the end. Let's talk about what you do to volunteer, how you make the world better. And then we're going to put a bow on it. And we're going to tell them why we're so excited to be there. And then we are going to smile because this is the biggest day of your life. And it's awesome. Can you hear me smiling as I am talking into the microphone? Because I can get real serious and I can have no smile, or I can have a smile and it compels the people to listen deeper. And that's what I want you to do, is be able to have them listen deeper, to know you are more than just a widget in a box. You are somebody important, and they need to know that. So take all that and practice it. Record yourself. Use your voice app on your phone. Use your voice recording. Find somebody to listen to it with you and give feedback. We do it all the time at Spitfire, and it's a lot of fun to get that information on recording, because then you'll know exactly how long it is. And then you'll be able to modify what you have done. If you're just talking extemporaneously, it's going to be difficult. So the one thing I would advise is to write down the points that you want to talk about. Don't write everything out in paragraph form, but bulletize the points that you want to talk about, and then record them, and then check how long it is. If it's too long, it's time to start putting some lines through those things and figuring out what it is that you need to not have on there. It's okay to leave some stuff out. They can ask about it later, but you need to get in that zone 3 to 5 minutes. If you do it and all of a sudden it's a minute and a half or 2 minutes, it's time to really think about who you are and what you're worth, and finding some information that is out there. The 3 to 5 is just kind of a general number, but like when it's really, really short, it sounds weird. And when it's really, really long, it's super boring. So be fun about it, because they listen to a lot of them, and you'll come across, it's your first foot forward. And it's the best way to start off when you're polished and ready, but you sound compelling and you sound interesting and you sound like you care, and they're going to love it, and they're going to love you, and you're going to get the job, and you're going to freaking crush. All right. So that's what I think about how to do your introduction. And I hope you take that information. I think you will find a lot of value in it. And I hope you put your foot forward right now and just start going and practice it. So practice it until next week, when we have our next interview episode. We'll catch you later. Hey, before I let you go, I need to mention one thing, because a lot of people are asking me, can you do anything? Can you help me with this? And the answer is yes. At Spitfire Elite, we will make more millionaires this year than Major League Baseball will make in the next 5 years. Our company actually does this. It's called Spitfire Elite Interview Consulting. And you can find us over at SpitfireElite.com. Our clients, they call us the easy button for interview prep, because everything you need to crush your interview is there in one spot. Whether it's application review or interview prep, all of it is covered. We've helped thousands of clients who are now flying at their dream jobs because our coaches gave them the one-on-one feedback that they needed to succeed on the biggest day of their life. The best part of Spitfire is our community. All Spitfire clients will get access to our private chats where they can work with each other, and they can work with our coaches and get the latest information on all the airlines. If you'd like to make sure that you are 100% ready to go on your big day, There is only one choice. Everything you need is in one place, and I think it's pretty affordable. You'll have to take a look for yourself. Just go over to SpitfireElite.com and check us out. Use the coupon code PODCAST and it'll save you 10%. And by the way, I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.